olduğunu bugün bir kez daha teyit etmiş olduk. Bu anlayışla Almanya ile yakın işbirliği içinde çalışmayı önümüzdeki dönemde de sürdüreceğiz. Sözlerimin sonunda değerli dostum Chancellor Merz ve heyetine ziyaretleri için tekrar teşekkür ediyor. Toplantımızın hayırlara vesile olmasını diliyorum. Dankeschön.
Sehr geehrter Herr Präsident, erlauben Sie mir zunächst, dass ich auch bei dieser Gelegenheit noch einmal herzlich Dank sage für die Einladung zu einem Besuch in Ankara. Ich freue mich sehr darüber und danke Ihnen für den freundlichen und den freundschaftlichen Empfang, den Sie heute mir gegeben haben. An einem Tag, der in der Tat die gemeinsame deutsch-türkische Geschichte bis heute begleitet, nämlich dem Tag des sogenannten Anwerbeabkommens für türkische Gastarbeiter, wie wir es damals genannt haben. Es sind Gastarbeiter angeworben worden und es sind Menschen mit ihren Familien nach Deutschland gekommen. Und ohne diese Menschen und ohne diese Familien hätte Deutschland vor 60 Jahren den wirtschaftlichen Aufschwung nicht so beginnen können, wie wir ihn begonnen haben. Heute leben von diesen Menschen, die damals gekommen sind, viele schon in der dritten Generation in Deutschland. Einige von ihnen schreiben Geschichte, wissenschaftliche Geschichte, wie zum Beispiel die beiden BioNTech-Gründer Professor Ugur Sahin und Frau Dr. Özlem Türeci. Andere tragen als Krankenschwestern, als Polizeibeamtinnen und Beamte Verantwortung in unserem Land. Die ganz große Mehrheit fühlt sich mittlerweile als Bürger unseres Staates und als Teil unseres Gemeinwesens. Sie sind Bürger unseres Staates und Teil unseres Gemeinwesens. Daraus ziehen wir auf beiden Seiten, Deutsche wie Türken, großen Nutzen. Allein die heutigen Wirtschaftsdaten sprechen eine klare Sprache. In Deutschland sorgen heute rund 80.000 türkischstämmige Unternehmerinnen und Unternehmer für ungefähr 400.000 Arbeitsplätze. Rund 500 deutsche Unternehmen beschäftigen umgekehrt heute hier in der Türkei etwa 200.000 Arbeitnehmerinnen und Arbeitnehmer. Das zeigt, unsere Verbindung ist wertvoll. Sie ist in einer einzigartigen Weise breit und tief, auch vor dem Hintergrund der von mir eben beschriebenen Geschichte. Ich bin gestern angekommen. Gestern hat die Republik ihren Nationalfeiertag gefeiert und ich möchte Ihnen, Herr Präsident, auch noch einmal herzlich gratulieren und auch dem türkischen Volk herzlich zu diesem besonderen Tag gratulieren. Ich möchte mit diesem Antrittsbesuch in Ankara eine Botschaft verbinden. Lassen Sie uns das enorme Potenzial unserer Beziehungen in den nächsten Monaten und Jahren noch besser nutzen. Und dafür gibt es auch zwingende Gründe. Denn wir gehen in eine neue geopolitische Phase, die von der Politik großer Mächte geprägt wird. Eine zentrale Schlussfolgerung daraus ist für mich, als Deutsche und als Europäer müssen wir unsere strategischen Partnerschaften ausbauen. Und dabei führt kein Weg an einer guten und vertieften Partnerschaft mit der Türkei vorbei. Wir können dabei auf ein starkes Fundament bauen. Unsere Gesellschaften und unsere Wirtschaft sind, wie ich es eben bereits dargelegt habe, eng verknüpft. Und wir sind enge Sicherheitspartner in der NATO. Dabei ist die Türkei ein wichtiger Akteur in fast allen außen- und sicherheitspolitischen Fragen, die uns im Augenblick beschäftigen und bewegen. Auf dieses Fundament werden wir nun aufbauen, indem wir wieder in einen strategischen Dialog eintreten, indem wir sicherheitspolitisch enger zusammenarbeiten, unter anderem durch die Beschaffung der Eurofighter-Flugzeuge, die Sie bereits, Herr Präsident, genannt haben. Aber auch indem wir die wirtschaftlichen Chancen besser nutzen, die in dieser Partnerschaft stecken. Ich will hier nur das Thema Verkehr und Verkehrsinfrastruktur, den Ausbau des Schienenverkehrs ansprechen. Wir haben darüber ausführlich gesprochen. Diesen Weg einzuschlagen, strategisch, außenpolitisch, sicherheitspolitisch, wirtschaftspolitisch, ist in der neuen geopolitischen Lage, in der wir uns befinden, ein zwingendes Gebot der Vernunft. Es liegt in unser beider Interesse, im strategischen Interesse beider Seiten. Zu einer tiefen und reifen deutsch-türkischen Partnerschaft gehört dabei, dass wir Klischees offen und vertrauensvoll besprechen und Probleme im Dialog miteinander angehen. Auch das haben wir heute getan, Herr Präsident, mit den Delegationen, aber auch unter 4 Augen. Lassen Sie mich, meine Damen und Herren, daher noch einmal kurz auf einige Themen zu sprechen kommen, die heute auf der Tagesordnung standen. Deutschland und die Türkei teilen als NATO-Partner gemeinsame Sicherheitsinteressen. In Ankara weiß man genauso wie in Berlin, Russlands militanter Revisionismus gefährdet die euroatlantische Sicherheit im Ganzen. Deshalb setzen wir die Beschlüsse des NATO-Gipfels in Den Haag entschieden um. Und die Bundesregierung begrüßt in diesem Zusammenhang ausdrücklich, dass die Türkei nach der entsprechenden Genehmigung auf deutscher Seite entschieden hat, 20 Eurofighter zu beschaffen. Unser gemeinsames Verständnis dabei ist, diese Flugzeuge dienen der kollektiven Sicherheit der Allianz. Sie erhöhen Schutz und Sicherheit aller NATO-Alliierten.
It was almost impossible to make naphtha. How to get lather without sulfates and conditioning without silicones. Rita, shikakai and coconut salts replaced sulfates for lather. For nourishment, we added hibiscus, amla and cold-pressed oils. Fermented proteins replaced silicones for conditioning. The result, fresh naphtha shampoo.
Mehr Rückführungen durchführen können als etwa schon im gesamten Jahr 2024. Aber wir wollen noch besser werden. Darin sind wir uns einig. Unsere Teams werden das weiter voranbringen. Auch das haben wir heute vereinbart. Wir haben uns auch über die großen internationalen Krisen ausgetauscht. Wir sind uns einig, dass der Krieg in der Ukraine rasch ein Ende finden muss. Präsident Trump hat letzte Woche zu Recht zweierlei gefordert. Erstens muss Moskau einem Waffenstillstand und Verhandlungen zustimmen. Startpunkt muss dabei zweitens der gegenwärtige Frontverlauf sein. Das ist auch unsere gemeinsame Überzeugung. Herr Präsident, ich habe Sie auch über die Beratungen innerhalb der Europäischen Union informiert. Wir werden dort weiter zielstrebig dafür arbeiten, dass die Bewaffnung der Ukraine aus den eingefrorenen russischen Guthaben finanziert werden kann. Die Kommission in Brüssel wird dazu ja auch eigene Vorschläge jetzt noch einmal entwickeln. Die Europäische Union und die Vereinigten Staaten haben zudem erstmals seit Antritt der Administration von Präsident Trump parallel starke Russland-Sanktionen erlassen. Dieses transatlantische Teamwork ist gut. Wir verstehen, dass die Türkei sich nur den Sanktionen anschließen möchte, die von den Vereinten Nationen auch beschlossen werden. Aber wir sind entschlossen, unsere Sanktionen entschlossen umzusetzen. Und wir wollen auch vermeiden, dass es hier Umgehungen gibt. Herzlichen Dank für Ihren Hinweis, den Sie in diesem Zusammenhang gegeben haben. Denn dies alles bringt uns gemeinsam dem Ziel näher, Russland an den Verhandlungstisch zu bringen und diesen Krieg zu beenden. Wir haben uns auch über die Lage im Nahen Osten ausgetauscht. Die Freilassung der Geiseln und der sich stabilisierende Waffenstillstand in Gaza sind gute Nachrichten. Nach dem Terroranschlag vom 7. Oktober 2023 gibt es nun erstmalig eine Chance auf einen dauerhaften Frieden in Gaza. Und ich habe dem Präsidenten gedankt für seine Rolle, die er und die Türkei in diesem Prozess gespielt haben. Ohne Katar, ohne Ägypten, ohne die Türkei und ohne die Vereinigten Staaten von Amerika wäre dieser Prozess nicht möglich gewesen. Herzlichen Dank, dass Sie das ermöglicht haben. Und wir wünschen uns, dass die Türkei weiter auch ihre Möglichkeiten ausschöpft, etwa indem sie die Hamas dazu veranlasst, nun auch in die zweite Phase dieses Abkommens einzutreten. Denn die Lage ist nach wie vor fragil. Die jüngsten Kampfhandlungen zeigen das, sodass wir nach wie vor auch hoffen müssen, dass es hier zu einem dauerhaften Frieden kommt. Die Bundesregierung wird ihrerseits alles dazu beitragen, dass der Friede hält. Dazu gehört, dass wir erstmals deutsche Offiziere in das zivil-militärische Zentrum im Süden Israels entsandt haben. Diplomatisch stehen wir bereit, uns in einer Kontaktgruppe zu engagieren, denn es bleibt viel zu tun. Die humanitäre Lage in Gaza muss sich schnell verbessern. Vor allem braucht es bald eine starke internationale Sicherheitspräsenz in Gaza und eine Verwaltung ohne die Hamas. Meine Damen und Herren, ich möchte abschließend gerne ein Wort zur europäischen Perspektive der Türkei sagen. Ich sehe persönlich und die Bundesregierung sieht die Türkei eng an der Seite der Europäischen Union. Wir wollen den Weg nach Europa weiter ebnen. Ich habe dem Präsidenten gesagt, dass ich mich auch für einen entsprechenden strategischen Dialog auf europäischer Ebene einsetzen möchte. Wir haben über die Kopenhagen-Kriterien gesprochen, die einen solchen Weg auch voraussetzen. Das sind Themen, die wir gemeinsam weiter besprechen wollen. Wir haben entschieden, dass der strategische Dialog der Außenminister wieder aufgenommen wird, dass das Wirtschaftstreffen JETCO in naher Zukunft wieder stattfindet, das seit einigen Jahren ausgesetzt ist, und dass es bald ein 5. Treffen der Verteidigungsindustrie gibt. Ich werde alle 3 Initiativen in der Bundesregierung ansprechen und entsprechend auch herbeiführen. Abschließend, unsere Partnerschaft ist nicht auf das Bilaterale beschränkt. Wir haben auch darüber beraten, wie wir in der NATO, wie wir in der Europäischen Union miteinander Fortschritte erzielen können. Ich bedanke mich noch einmal sehr, sehr herzlich, dass wir heute die 3. Möglichkeit einer Begegnung hatten. Zuerst in Den Haag am Rande des NATO-Gipfels, dann in Tirana am Rande des Treffens der Europäischen Politischen Gemeinschaft, aber heute eben hier zu einem offiziellen Besuch in Ankara. Sehr geehrter Herr Präsident, vielen Dank für Ihre Gastfreundschaft. Ich weiß das sehr zu schätzen, und wir werden die Zusammenarbeit zwischen Deutschland und der Türkei weiter vertiefen, weil wir beide wissen, dass wir sehr viel mehr erreichen können, wenn wir zusammenarbeiten und wenn wir den Weg, den wir uns vorgenommen haben, auch in den nächsten Jahren gemeinsam gehen. Ich freue mich darauf. Herzlichen Dank.
Dankeschön. Evet, şimdi bir soru Almanya tarafından alacağız. Bir soru Türkiye tarafından alacağız. İlk soru Almanya tarafından.
Dankeschön, Herr Präsident. Herr Präsident, Sie haben gesagt, dass dass die Türkei auch EU-Mitglied werden will. Vielleicht können Sie noch etwas präzisieren, was die Türkei eigentlich von der EU möchte und was sie anzubieten hat. Sind das Rüstungsgeschäfte? Sind das seltene Erden? Haben Sie zugesagt dem Kanzler verstärkte Rückführungen, die er eben erwähnt hat? Und Herr Bundeskanzler, ich hätte ganz gerne von Ihnen gewusst, Sie haben es eben nur angetickt, was die Türkei dafür leisten muss. Kopenhagener Kriterien, es gibt hier Kritik an Rechtsstaatsproblemen, gerade mit Blick auf die Verhaftung des Istanbuler Bürgermeisters und neuen Vorwürfen gegen ihn. Was muss die Türkei Ihrer Meinung nach hier tun? Und wie sehen Sie die Rolle der Türkei im Nahen Osten? Erwarten Sie, dass die Türkei sich für eine Entwaffnung von Hamas einsetzt? Und der Präsident hat eben von Völkermord gesprochen. Ist das eigentlich auch Ihre Einschätzung? Und erlauben Sie aus aktuellem Anlass, weil es das Treffen des US-Präsidenten mit dem chinesischen Präsidenten gab, was ja auch für die Türkei und für Deutschland möglicherweise wichtig sein kann, sind Sie jetzt optimistischer, dass weltweite Zollkriege verhindert werden können nach diesem Treffen? Oder fürchten Sie andererseits, dass es vielleicht ein neues atomares Westrüsten gibt?
Bu soru kime? Bana mı, Sayın Chancellor?
Bitte?
Bu soru kime? Bana mı, Chancellor?
Die erste Frage ging an Sie, dann der Bundeskanzler, und ich wäre dankbar, wenn Sie vielleicht die Frage beide beantworten können über das Treffen Trump und Xi. Danke.
Teşekkür ediyorum. Öncelikle şu an itibariyle Türkiye'de bizim bu yaklaşımlar noktasında rahatız, huzurluyuz. Çünkü biz Kopenhag kriterleri noktasında hep şunu söyledik. Kopenhag kriterleri bizim için olumsuz bir yaklaşım süreci değil. Eğer Kopenhag kriterleri noktasında Türkiye'ye yaklaşılıyorsa bizim de bunun karşısında Ankara kriterlerimiz vardır. Ankara kriterleriyle biz Avrupa'ya ve dünyaya açılırız. Çünkü Türkiye sıradan bir Avrupa veya Asya ülkesi değil. Türkiye Avrupa'da, Asya'da her noktada bu süreci dünyada en iyi işleten ve işleyen bir demokrasi ülkesidir ve bu konuyla ilgili de herhangi bir sıkıntısı yoktur. İkinci, İstanbul Büyükşehir Belediyesi ile ilgili bir sorunuz oldu. Herhalde kim hangi makamda olursa olsun bir hukuk devletinde hukuku ayaklar altına alamazsınız. Hangi makamda olursanız olun, eğer hukuku ayaklar altına alırsanız yargı devletinde yargı makamları ne gerekiyorsa onu yapmak zorundadır. Eğer yapmazlarsa bu defa yolsuzluk, hırsızlık, her tür yanlış alır başını gider. Nitekim İstanbul'daki süreç böyle işlemiştir ve şu anda da bu süreci yargı kendisine tereddüt ettiği şekilde işletmektedir ve gereğini de yapmaktadır. Örneğin son dönemde mesela bir hakemler olayı çıkmıştır. Ve bu hakemler olayında da yine futbol sahalarında neler oluyor ve bütün bunlar olurken eli kolu bağlı olarak herhalde bir devlet bunu takip edemez. Ne gerekiyorsa yapması lazım ve şu anda da bu yapılmıştır ve vatandaş tribünlerdeki bu gelişmeyi görünce şimdi çok da mutlu olmaktadır. Neler oluyor, neler demeye başlamıştır. Şimdi Sayın Şansölye'ye bırakıyorum. Buyurun.
Herr Präsident, wir haben über die europäische Perspektive der Türkei gesprochen. Der Weg in die Europäische Union ist ein Weg, der über die Einhaltung der Kopenhagener Kriterien führt. Es sind in der Türkei Entscheidungen getroffen worden, die noch nicht den Ansprüchen genügen im Hinblick auf Rechtsstaatlichkeit und Demokratie, so wie wir sie aus der europäischen Sicht verstehen. Darüber gibt es einen Dialog, den wird es auch weitergeben. Und wir wollen, dass die Türkei eine wichtige Rolle spielt. Jetzt schon, aber noch mehr in Zukunft. Und eine solche Perspektive ist damit verbunden, dass entsprechende Berichte auch der EU-Kommission erstellt werden. Das ist nicht alleine die Beurteilung der deutschen Bundesregierung, sondern das ist eine Beurteilung, die die gesamte Europäische Union vorzunehmen hat. Und diesen Dialog, den werden wir sicherlich auch miteinander führen. Wir haben darüber ausführlich gesprochen. Auch habe ich meine Besorgnis zum Ausdruck gebracht, dass es hier auch Sachverhalte gibt, die zum Beispiel mit der Unabhängigkeit der Rechtsprechung nicht unseren Vorstellungen entsprechen. Aber das ist Gegenstand der Gespräche, die wir miteinander führen. Es hat am 7. Oktober 2023 einen Terroranschlag gegeben gegen den Staat Israel, dem weit über 1000 Menschen schon am ersten Tag zum Opfer gefallen sind, viele hundert danach auch. Israel hat nach unserer festen Überzeugung von seinem Recht auf Selbstverteidigung Gebrauch gemacht. Nun ist dieser Konflikt aber hoffentlich mit dem 20-Punkte-Plan des Präsidenten der Vereinigten Staaten unter tätiger Mithilfe, unter anderem auch des türkischen Staatspräsidenten, vorläufig jedenfalls beendet. Wir suchen jetzt nach Wegen, eine dauerhafte Friedenslösung zu ermöglichen. Und eine solche dauerhafte Friedenslösung geht nur mit Einbeziehung der Beteiligten, aber ohne die Beteiligung der Hamas. Auch dies ist Gegenstand unseres Gespräches gewesen. Die Beurteilung des Treffens zwischen Trump und Xi Jinping ist nur vorläufig, weil ich die abschließenden Vereinbarungen noch nicht kenne. Aber es ist hoffentlich eine Vereinbarung, die jetzt auch im Sinne eines befriedeten Konfliktes um die Zölle trägt. Denn das, was zwischen Amerika und China stattfindet, hat unmittelbare Auswirkungen auch auf den Handel etwa der europäischen Mitgliedstaaten, auch der Bundesrepublik Deutschland. Wir sind von Entscheidungen der chinesischen Staatsführung unmittelbar betroffen, wenn es etwa um die Ausfuhrgenehmigung von bestimmten Rohstoffen geht. Also ich kann hier nur meiner Hoffnung Ausdruck geben, dass es zu einer tragfähigen Lösung kommt. Sie kennen die Überzeugung, Herr Rinke, der gesamten Bundesregierung, Herr Fischer, der gesamten Bundesregierung, dass wir Zölle nicht für die richtige Antwort halten, um Konflikte oder Handelsimbalancen auszugleichen. Aber dies ist eine Frage, die ich heute nur vorläufig beantworten kann. Ich möchte mir die Vereinbarungen, die da gegebenenfalls getroffen worden sind, noch im Detail genauer anschauen.
Sayın Merz'e bir soru sormak istiyorum. İsrail yaklaşık 2 yıldır sistemli bir şekilde Gazze'deki insanları öldürüyor. 20 binden fazlası çocuk, 60 binden fazla insan öldürüldü Gazze'de. Şehirler yok edildi. Milyonlarca insan mülteci konumunda ve siz İsrail'e desteğinizi sürdürüyorsunuz. Bu desteğinizin arkasında 2. Dünya Savaşı'nda Yahudilere yönelik, Nazi Almanyası döneminde Yahudilere yönelik soykırım mı var? Bu yüzden mi desteğiniz devam ediyor? Ve siz ileride tarihin yanlış tarafında durduğunuzu düşünecek misiniz? Bunun endişesi içinde misiniz? Bunu merak ediyorum. Bir diğer sorum da Avrupa'daki yabancı düşmanlığı. 2024 yılında 3000'den fazla Müslümana yönelik saldırılar gerçekleşti. Ve sadece Almanya'da değil, Avrupa'nın genelinde de ne yazık ki bu artıyor. Buna dair bir adım atacak mısınız? Söylemsel veya eylemsel olarak. Bu konuda Sayın Cumhurbaşkanı'nın da görüşlerini merak ediyorum. Teşekkürler.
Ja. Die Bundesrepublik Deutschland steht seit der Staatsgründung des Staates Israel fest an der Seite dieses Landes. Dieses Land ist Zufluchtsort für Millionen Jüdinnen und Juden auf der Welt geworden. Viele von ihnen, die den Holocaust überlebt haben, sind nach Israel gezogen und deswegen wird es immer so sein, dass Deutschland fest an der Seite des Staates Israel steht. Das heißt nicht, dass wir jede politische Entscheidung einer israelischen Regierung respektieren oder akzeptieren und kritiklos annehmen und übernehmen. Sie wissen, dass auch frühere Regierungen durchaus Kritik geübt haben an einzelnen Entscheidungen. Aber meine Bundesregierung hat von Anfang an, seit dem 7. Oktober, ohnehin an der Seite des Staates Israel und auch des jüdischen Volkes gestanden. Israel hat von seinem Recht auf Selbstverteidigung Gebrauch gemacht und es hätte nur einer einzigen Entscheidung bedurft, um auch die zahllosen, unnötigen Opfer zu vermeiden. Die Hamas hätte die Geiseln früher freilassen sollen und die Waffen niederlegen müssen. Dann wäre dieser Krieg sofort zu Ende gewesen. Die Kinder in Gaza, deren Schicksal auch mich persönlich sehr berührt haben, sind Opfer einer Geiselnahme geworden durch die Terrororganisation der Hamas. Wir hoffen jetzt, dass dies ein Ende gefunden hat und deswegen noch einmal Dank an Präsident Erdogan, dass er daran auch mitgewirkt hat und auch bereit ist, weiter mitzuwirken. Dann hat das Sterben in Gaza hoffentlich ein Ende für alle Beteiligten, insbesondere für die unschuldigen Kinder und für die Frauen und Älteren, die davon betroffen waren.
Priya added a hotel to her flight just because it had a floating breakfast. Expedia, made to travel.
In unserem Land gilt Religionsfreiheit und Religionsfreiheit heißt nicht nur katholisch und evangelisch, sondern heißt natürlich auch Zugehörigkeit zum Islam. Das wird durch unser Grundgesetz geschützt und dieser Schutz ist uneingeschränkt für alle Bürgerinnen und Bürger unseres Landes, auch für Gäste unseres Landes gewährleistet. Und die staatliche Gewalt der Bundesrepublik Deutschland trägt ohne Ansehen der Person, der Herkunft, der Religion, der Hautfarbe dazu bei, dass die körperliche Unversehrtheit gewährleistet wird. Und das werden die Sicherheitsbehörden genauso durchsetzen, wie die politischen Instanzen der Bundesrepublik Deutschland dies für alle gleich gewährleisten wollen.
Sayın Şansölye'nin bir konusuna maalesef katılamıyorum. O da şudur. Bir defa bu süreç içerisinde ne yazık ki 60 bini aşkın çocuk, kadın, yaşlı burada öldürülmüştür. Ve Hamas'ın elinde bombalar yok. Hamas'ın elinde nükleer silah yok. Ama bu silahların hepsi İsrail'in elinde mevcut var ve İsrail bu silahları kullanarak örneğin dün akşam yine bu bombalarla özellikle Gazze'yi vurmuştur. Bunları Almanya olarak sizler görmüyor musunuz? Almanya olarak bunları takip etmiyor musunuz? Bunlar Gazze'yi vurmak suretiyle, bırakın vurmayı, orayı açlıkla, soykırımla terbiye etmenin hep gayreti içerisinde olmuştur ve hala da bu devam etmektedir. Tehdit vardır. Gazze'ye yiyecek gönderilmesi noktasında
call them the drug by sea. You know, the boats, we took out 4 of them over the last 2 days. And they're really stopping. They're not coming anymore. They're coming by land, but to a lesser extent. And if necessary, we're going to, well, it will be necessary probably, but we'll be hitting them at land. But the boats are very few and far between. We took in tremendous amounts of death. They call them the boats of death. Tremendous amounts of death coming into our country. And this is estimated, I don't know if this is exactly right, but it's pretty close. 25,000 people died from each boat that we take out if it had gotten back, if it had gotten to our country. Kills 25,000 people. Not even talking about the destruction it does to families in terms of people that are become addicted and all of the problems caused by to families. So, and over the last 2 days, I guess we took out 4. But there are very few of them. There are very few of them now. That's down, I hear that's down about 80% by water. The drugs by water down, as you know, about 80% down. And I would imagine it's going to be pretty close to 100%. Nobody wants to do it. And we'll be, and we already are. We're stopping them on land also.
Sir, what is China?
We're actually making our country safe. Think of it. I'm just saying as I speak to you, very simply, we're making our country safe. It's a beautiful thing.
Sir, what is China doing to justify removing fentanyl tariffs?
Well, I think they're going to do things that, you know, they have an industry that has to do with drugs. The fentanyl has other reasons for being. And we have to get rid of it. We have to stop it. And now we're stopping it at the border to a very much larger extent than ever before. Under Biden, you had open borders, the stuff was flowing in. I think they killed 300,000 people last year. Fentanyl, drugs coming through the southern border. And now nobody gets through the southern border. We just had another report of a 0. 0 people came. We are very tough on the border. And we're allowing people into our country, but they're coming in legally through the legal process. And I want to commend, I have to tell you, our border agents, our border patrol agents, they've been amazing. And ICE, these people do such a great job. What they're doing, Memphis is making tremendous progress, as you know, is extremely dangerous. And already it's down to less than 50%. A lot of criminals, career criminals, people that came in illegally have been brought back to their countries and never to come back again. We tell them if you come back again, it's going to be brutal.
Sorry, just to clarify, so China's going to be working with U.S. law enforcement on fentanyl, or how is that going to work?
China's going to be working with me.
Okay.
They're going to be working with me, and we're going to do something, I believe. I mean, look, we have to have the meeting. Our meeting tomorrow, that's a big meeting. And fentanyl will be one of the things that we're discussing. Important. We'll be discussing the farmers, we'll be discussing a lot of things, but fentanyl will be one of the things we're discussing.
Sir, what you said last night when you said you were prepared to send more than the National Guard into American cities?
Sure, I would do that if it was necessary. You know, if it was necessary to do that, but it hasn't been necessary. We're doing a great job without that. It was necessary. As you know, I'm allowed to do that.
Do you need other branches of the military you would send in, or?
Who are you with?
The New York Times.
That's very good, very good. Well, if you write it correctly, I'll give you the answer. But, you know, I want to enact a certain act. I'm allowed to do it routinely, and about 50% of presidents have used that, as you know, and I'd be allowed to do whatever I want. But we haven't chosen to do that because we're doing very well without it. But I'd be allowed to do that, you understand? And the courts wouldn't get involved, nobody would get involved, and I could send the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, I could send anybody I wanted, but I haven't done that because we're doing so well without it. Washington, D.C. continues to be amazing, safe, and it's really great. As I said, Memphis, where we are now, is doing really well. It's down, I think, almost 70%, and within 2-3 weeks it'll be down to almost no crime. Now we're taking a lot of bad people out. We're incarcerating some very bad people, some gangs, have a lot of bad gangs there, and we're taking care of it. And we're doing things that, frankly, local law enforcement is going to have a hard time doing. We were all set to go last Saturday into San Francisco. We look forward to that. We would have solved that problem in less than a month. But at the behest of a couple of really great people, very successful, great civic-minded people. They said, we'd love to try doing it ourselves, and that's okay. And we worked with the mayor, and we're working with those people, but we didn't surge the city. And I said, if we surge, it's going to go a lot quicker, and it's much more effective. But I want to give them a chance to do it themselves if they can. If they can't do it themselves, we'll solve San Francisco in 3 weeks.
On the southern border, President Sheinbaum of Mexico said that the tariff truce with the U.S. has been extended for talks. How long are you willing to wait for that to play out?
Well, I like the extension with Mexico because, we're doing very well with that extension. We get a lot of tariffs. They're paying a lot of money. As you know, a lot of car companies are moving from Mexico back into the United States. They took our car companies a long time ago, 30 years ago, and more. We lost about 57% of our automobile manufacturing over the decades. And it's all coming back because of tariffs. It's all coming back. And the tariffs are really national security as much as anything else. It's national security in many ways, but one of the ways that it's national security is we're building up great wealth because of tariffs. And you need wealth to be secure. But it's, in the more traditional sense, also national security, very important. But we're bringing back our auto plants that deserted us 20 and 30 years ago. They're all coming back. Last night, I met with Mr. Toyota, and we had an amazing meeting. I said, what's your name? Toyota. I said, you're rich. And he's going to invest, think of this, $10 billion in the United States to build manufacturing plants. They'll build their cars with American workers, largely. They have the right to send some experts. But they're going to be building cars in the United States. So we're getting all of our manufacturing back in the car business. And AI, we're leading China, we're leading the world in AI. We're getting them rapid approvals on energy. I've allowed them to produce their own energy for each plant. So that rather than relying on an old and somewhat weak grid, the electric grid, they build their own energy, and then if they have excess energy, they sell it back into the grid. So it's great. It's really worked out well. It's allowing them to build rapidly, and they are building all over the United States.
Sir, could we get your reaction to Israel striking in Gaza again?
Well, as I understand it, they took out an Israeli soldier. I just heard about it a little while ago. They killed an Israeli soldier, so the Israelis hit back, and they should hit back. When that happens, they should hit back.
Do you think does that worry you about the ceasefire? Does that jeopardize the ceasefire in any way?
No, nothing's going to jeopardize. You have to understand, Hamas is a very small part of peace in the Middle East, and they have to behave. They're on the rough side, but they said they would be good, and if they're good, they're going to be happy, and if they're not good, they're going to be terminated. Their lives will be terminated, and they understand that. And we have many countries that are willing to do that. We have many countries, even Japan today, said we'd love to be involved in the Middle East and we can help you by sending anybody, by sending people, including experts. But we have many countries that would do that, not just Israel. No, that's a very strong piece. Hamas is a small thing, but they kill people. They grew up killing people, and I guess they don't stop. But nobody knows what happened to the Israeli soldier, but they say it was sniper fire, and there was retribution for that, and I think they have a right to do it.
Is it possible that there are fringe elements within Hamas that are trying to
I think there are, because we actually met with people that were leading it, and they really want to see, they really, in my opinion, based on the experts that dealt with them, I think they're unhappy when they see some people being killed.
Well, Hamas
not like it was, by the way, but some people being killed. We don't want that.
Will Hamas decommission its weapons? That's a key part of the next.
Yeah, we're looking at that right now. That's starting because we're getting into phase 2, and that's starting. You have to understand, Hamas is a very small part of the overall Middle East peace. We have peace in the Middle East. If we have to, we'll take out Hamas very easily, and that'll be the end of Hamas. We would rather not. We made a deal with them where they were going to behave, and they have to behave. If they don't behave, could be from numerous countries. It could be from Israel, but it could also be from other countries. Numerous countries have already called me that are parties to the deal and said, we'd love to do it if you want us to do it. And these are powerful countries. These are not countries to be toyed with.
So, what's your reaction to North Korea test launching a missile this morning?
What did you say?
North Korea test launched missiles this morning. What's your reaction to that?
The missiles, the North Korean missiles.
Oh, I don't know. He's been launching missiles for decades, right? Just another missile was launched. I always had a very good relationship with them. So, at some point I'll be meeting. The schedule is very tight, as you know, but at some point I look forward to meeting them again. But we had a very good relationship. I mean, more than a relationship. We had a really good understanding of each other. We met, we spoke to each other numerous times, and we had a good relationship. At some point we'll be involved with North Korea.
Does that mean no meeting with Kim Jong-un?
I don't know. I think they'd like to, and I'd like to, but I also want to focus on China. Our focus is now on tomorrow with China, and I want to make that the focus. But we'll come back and we'll, at some point in the not too distant future, meet with North Korea.
How much do you expect Xi to try to push you on Taiwan?
I don't know that we'll even speak about Taiwan. I'm not sure. He may want to ask about it.
Are you anticipating?
There's not that much to ask about. Taiwan is Taiwan. But the beautiful part about Taiwan, frankly, and they understand it, is we're bringing a lot of those chip makers into the United States. If you look at the #1 chip maker in the world, they're building a massive factory in Arizona, the biggest in the world, actually, for making chips. If you look at NVIDIA is doing unbelievable. We're bringing a lot of the Taiwan business back to the United States. I think within 2 years, I think we'll have 40 to 50% of the chip market. But that's happening, and I don't know, it's happening because of the tariffs. It's also happening because of the fact that maybe they're a little bit concerned about things. Who knows? But they are, tremendous, I don't know if you're reporting it, but massive numbers and percentages of the chip business is coming back right now as we speak. They're building plants in Arizona, Texas, and other places.
On chips, sir, have you agreed or will you agree with Xi potentially to allow the license of more exports of NVIDIA Blackwells?
So we'll be speaking about Blackwell. We'll be speaking about Blackwell is the super duper chip. Blackwell's amazing. NVIDIA makes it. The Jensen is an amazing, brilliant man. And it's probably 10 years ahead of any other chip. And unlike a lot of other businesses, you just can't catch it. It's mostly you can copy and you can do things you really can't in the chip business for whatever reason. That doesn't work that way. But Blackwell just came out. Jensen presented me with the first Blackwell chip 3 days ago in the Oval Office. And it's an amazing thing that they've done. But that's our country. We're about 10 years ahead of anybody else in chips, in the highly sophisticated chips. I think we may be talking about that with President Xi.
China's actually discouraged purchase of those chips. Is that something that's on the table?
Well, China actually terminated the relationship with NVIDIA. That was a big thing, but in the meantime, NVIDIA hit a brand new high. As did, the stock market yesterday hit the highest ever that it ever was. So all of the markets, every one of our markets, we're doing great. The country is doing great. We have the shutdown caused by the Democrats, and at some point they'll come back. I think they're getting just killed right now, but all they have to do is say, let's get back to business, and we're back. There's nothing to sign. There's nothing to negotiate.
Hurricane Melissa, have you been following that?
Well, I have, because I've never seen numbers like that. I saw we want to go 195-mile-an-hour wind. I've never seen that before. I guess it can get that high, but I've never seen it. And it's literally just, knocking down everything in front of it. It's a stage 5, I guess. And you don't see stage 5. You don't see 5s, right? You see 4s and 3s, but this is a 5 early on, meaning it gets worse. So it's done a tremendous job. You mean on Jamaica?
And is the United States going to?
Well, we have to. On a humanitarian basis, we have to. So we're watching it closely, and we're prepared to move. But it's doing tremendous damage as we speak. It's right there, right now.
Sir, can I ask you?
What's the AI problem?
That's what some experts say, that some investments are
There's no problem.
overreacting.
Everybody wants AI because it's the new internet, it's the new everything. It's one of the biggest things anyone's ever seen. So everyone wants it. Yeah, I mean, the only problem is if you don't get it. In order to get it, you have to be able to produce tremendous amounts of electricity. And we're allowing them to produce and make their own electricity. This way, they don't have to rely on government. And by the way, they're making electric plants that are so sophisticated and so incredible, so much beyond, that companies that make and service electricity, the Con Edison and all the different companies that do that and do it well, but they've never seen anything like what's happening. It's almost a revolution in the making of electricity at the level of sophistication.
Sir, Speaker Johnson says that he no time to amend the Constitution to allow you to serve a third term. Is that an accurate representation of the conversation?
I don't want to even talk about that because, the sad thing is I have my highest numbers that I've ever had. As I said, I ended 8 wars and we have the greatest economy in history. And by the way, energy prices are way down. Everything's way down. Beef is a little bit high. We're going to get beef down too. But prices are down and the economy's up. The only thing that's not down is the stock prices. And 401ks are through the roof. Everyone's 401ks hitting records. So we have the greatest economy we've ever had. I have my highest poll numbers that I've ever had. And, based on what I read, I guess I'm not allowed to run. So we'll see what happens.
Johnson says you're trolling when you talk about a third term. Are you trolling or are you serious?
I don't think he said that. I don't think he used that term, but it's a very interesting thing. I have the best numbers for any president in many years, any president. And I would say that if you read it, it's pretty clear. I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad. But we have a lot of great people.
Stamps will stop being sent out on Saturday. The Department of Agriculture says they cannot tap into contingency funding to fund that. Is your administration food stamps, SNAP benefits? Is your administration?
Well, we're going to get it done. The Democrats have caused the problem on food stamps. Of course, all they have to do is sign. And if they sign, I'll meet with them. They're all saying, they actually said Trump is doing an amazing job in this trip. This trip will bring back trillions of dollars, so it's hard, but they do want to meet with me when I get back. But I say get the economy open and I'll meet and we'll solve any difficulties. We have to fix healthcare because Obamacare is a disaster. I mean, when you see the increases in Obamacare, it never worked, it never will work, and we can do something, work with the Democrats, much better than Obamacare. Less money and better healthcare. And that's something I think that could come out of this with the Democrats. You work with the Democrats. Because right now the insurance companies are making too much money. And they're making a fortune. And the healthcare, Obamacare is poor. And the premiums are ridiculous. Now, it's going up a lot. I don't want to say the number. The number is very substantial. But when you hear the number, and it's Obamacare. It never worked. It never will work. It'll never be good. And I think it's a great time for the Republicans and Democrats to get together and make something that will work and let the insurance companies make money. They're entitled to that, but not the kind of money that they're making.
Would you bring Democrats in to have that discussion
Yeah, we
now?
do that, sure.
But now, sir?
I'd say open up the government and we'll work it out. I think a lot of good things can happen from it. Well, listen, thank you very much. We have 2 big days. This is a big day. And we're going to be speaking at APAC and a lot of countries are there. They're all investing in the U.S. We're the hottest we've ever been. We're the hottest country in the world, and they're all investing, so I'll be doing that. And then tomorrow morning is the one that most people find most interesting, and I think we're going to have a great meeting with President Xi of China, and a lot of problems are going to be solved.
You're optimistic.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic. I am. And I know a little bit about what's going on because, we have been talking to them, not just walking into a meeting call, but the relationship with China is very good. So I think we're going to have a my best relationship. And she comes from that exact camp. He would have supported her had he been around.
Were you touched by the putter and the golf
That
bag?
was very beautiful. I played golf with him, and they gave me the putter that he played with, and he putted very well that day. I remember. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay, hello, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I thought it was an amazing meeting. He's a great leader of a very powerful, very strong country, China. And what can I say? We have, it was an outstanding group of decisions, I think, that was made. A lot of decisions were made, too. There wasn't too much left out there. And we've come to conclusion on many very important points, and we'll be handing that to you in a little while. We're having, because there was a lot of different things, many of them very important. We're in agreement on so many elements, large amounts, tremendous amounts of the soybeans and other farm products are going to be purchased immediately, starting immediately. If you notice, President Xi authorized yesterday for China to start, did you know that, right? China to start buying in very large quantities of soybeans and other things, which I appreciated. That was a very nice gesture. And many other things like that. On fentanyl, we agreed that he was going to work very hard to stop the flow. It's a very complex subject because it's used for lots of different reasons, including anesthetics and things. But he's going to work very hard on it, precursors, and I think you're going to see some real action taken. I've agreed, as you know, I put a 20% tariff on China because of the fentanyl coming in, which is it's a big tariff. And based on his statements today, I reduced it by 10%, so it's 10% instead of 20% effective immediately. I believe he's going to work very hard to stop the death that's coming in. But again, it's complex because of what fentanyl is, what the precursors do. So I think you're going to see a big difference. We've had discussions on many of the elements that you're talking about all the time. You're asking me questions, and most of those things were I think agreed to for the most part. I think we agreed to almost everything in a very acceptable form. I wouldn't say everything was discussed because of the things that probably, in retrospect, we could have discussed and we didn't, for some reason, didn't come up. But if you have any questions, let me know. Go ahead.
What about chips, sir? Did he agree? Did you agree to sell any more down
chips? We did discuss chips, and they're going to be talking to NVIDIA and others about taking chips. Look, we make great chips. NVIDIA is the leader. And I'll be speaking to Jensen from NVIDIA, but they're going to be discussing that with NVIDIA to see whether or not they can do. I said that's really between you and NVIDIA, but we're sort of the arbitrator or the referee. It's a little rough up here. The skies are a little rough.
And just to clarify, sir, that is the downgraded Blackwell chips. You would authorize those to be exported?
No, not the Blackwell. We're not talking about the Blackwell. That just came out yesterday. But a lot of chips, a lot of the chips. And that's good for us.
How soon do you think you'd be able to sign an actual...
Please, come on. You know what you do? Yeah, come on.
Let me
stand right over here.
Yeah, hey everybody, thanks. Let me just make a point on the chips. As the president was saying, there's so many chips we already sent to China, a lot of advanced chips, etc. And as he said, NVIDIA will talk to China and see what's possible. The Blackwell chips, of course, weren't discussed. We focused on export controls of China on rare earths, and they're going to keep those flowing, which is quite important.
What are the major stumbling blocks that are left now to work through, and how soon do you think you could sign a trade deal with China?
Well, I think pretty soon. We have not too many major stumbling blocks. We have a deal. Now, every year we'll renegotiate the deal, but I think the deal will go on for a long time. long beyond the year. We'll negotiate at the end of the year. But all of the rare earth has been settled. And that's for the world. I mean, worldwide. This, I guess you could really say this was a worldwide situation, not just a U.S. situation. So we continue to produce the rare earths and buy the rare earths and everything else, when you see from other countries. But China is, that whole situation, that roadblock is gone now. There's no roadblock at all on rare earth. That will hopefully disappear from our vocabulary for a little while.
So is that a one-year pause on the policy they announced?
It's a one-year agreement, and we'll extend it after a year.
And what will
like we do. It's a one-year deal that will, I think, be very routinely extended as time goes by.
To be totally clear, they're not going to impose the rare earth controls that they proposed. President Trump and President Xi came to an understanding on that point.
What will your new tariff rate on China's goods be once you sign the deal?
Other than what the tariffs remain exactly the same.
55%.
It's about it was 57. Now it's 47.
And how long?
Because we reduced it by the fentanyl, because I believe they are really taking strong action. We've already seen the action on fentanyl, and they're taking very strong action. So we reduced to 10%.
So that November date is gone when it was going to go up again?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. So
that's all.
On fentanyl, they've agreed there are a variety of precursors. You may recall that actual fentanyl was scheduled by China in the president's first term successfully. There are certain precursors where they take whatever actions they need to control that. If they can control rare earths, we know they can control the precursors. And President Xi, I think, was very strong in saying he was going to enforce those laws internally. And of course, we'll watch that. And we'll
He's going to be very strong in enforcing the fentanyl, everything having to do with fentanyl and regulations internally, including taking very strong measures against those that don't obey.
And a variety of other tariffs still remain. The Section 301 tariffs from the original, a variety of Section 232 tariffs. Some of these tariffs are, as the president mentioned, around 40%. For some individual products, it may go up to 100%, but as a general matter, it's about 45, 47%.
So, sir, it sounds like you might be going to China then after the successful meeting.
That's another thing we agreed. I'll be going to China in April, and he'll be coming here sometime after that, whether it's in Florida, Palm Beach, or Washington, D.C.
Did you read anything on the shipping fees, the 301 shipping investigation?
Well, that's been.
So we're going to postpone that while we negotiate with them about that issue. We're trying to rebuild shipbuilding. The Cranes just agreed to invest $150 billion in shipbuilding, so we think we have a good path forward.
But that's no longer an issue.
Did the war in Ukraine or Taiwan come up?
We discussed that, and we discussed basically these are rough winds in Asia. I must tell you, this is a rough flight. We could have waited an hour, maybe. This is a little tough. These are tough conditions for interviews. They're going to be watching Trump. They're going to say he didn't look too good. He's got the shakes. I don't have the shakes, but people are going to think I do.
You're pretty solid.
So Ukraine, it came up.
Yeah, it did come up. Ukraine came up very strongly. We talked about it for a long time, and we're both going to work together to see if we can get something done. We agreed the sides are, locked in and fighting, and sometimes you have to let them fight, I guess. Crazy. But he's going to help us, and we're going to work together on Ukraine. There's not a lot more we can do. He's been buying oil from Russia for a long time. It takes care of a big part of China. And, I can say India's been very good on that front. But we didn't really discuss the oil. We discussed working together to see if we could get that war finished. It doesn't affect China. It doesn't affect us. And I'd like to see it done on the basis. I don't like to see 6, 7, 8,000 young people, mostly young people, for the most part soldiers, be killed. It's not costing us anything. In fact, we make money, and I don't even want to talk about making money. I don't care about making money in that case. But, we send weapons to NATO. They buy full price. They buy the weapons. They give them to whoever, but I think they give them probably to Ukraine for the most part. And we discussed it. We discussed all that. We're going to work together to try and get the war with Russia and Ukraine solved.
What about the Taiwan issue, sir?
It never came up. Taiwan never came up. It was not discussed, actually.
What else didn't come up that you thought might come up? You had mentioned you didn't get to everything.
I mean, we had a long meeting, as you know, but a lot of things we discussed in great detail. A lot of things we brought to finalization. A lot of finalization. I thought it was a great meeting. I think it was a very friendly meeting. It was a good meeting for two very large, powerful countries. And that's the way we should get along with the large, powerful.
Why did you write your Truth Social about nuclear testing? What about resuming nuclear testing? What prompted you to do that right before the meeting?
It had to do with others. They seem to all be nuclear testing.
Russia?
We have more nuclear weapons than anybody. We don't do testing. You know, we've halted it many years ago. But with others doing testing, I think it's appropriate that we do also.
Any details around the testing, sir? Like where, when?
It'll be announced. You know, we have test sites. It'll be announced.
Did Israel give you a heads up before they bombed Gaza? And is it still a ceasefire if they're stopping?
It is. No, they had a sniper, and one of their soldiers were killed, and they did retribution. So we'll see. But yeah, it is a ceasefire. It's back to ceasefire.
But is that
what is the thinking behind reducing troops in Romania, the drawdown of U.S. troops in Romania?
You have to ask. I mean, I can tell you about it, but it's not very significant. It's not a big deal.
On nuclear weapons, sir, which countries do you have in mind when you say you want to send a signal?
What a rough ride this is. The interviews are tough enough without your life being threatened. You guys okay?
Yes, sir.
That camera guy's very steady. We're going to look real bad today on television, I'll tell you. I think that, it's pretty much, I think we've discussed mostly what we said, pretty comprehensive. We're going to issue a statement on some of the details. But overall, I guess on the scale of from 0 to 10, with 10 being the best, I would say the meeting was a 12. Okay, I think it was a 12. I think very importantly, just the whole relationship is very, very important. And I think it was really good.
Especially coming on the heels of the successful trip. We're in Malaysia. You signed a peace deal for Cambodia and Thailand. Critical mineral deals with all our allies.
So many successful meetings. Right? And so many meetings great for our country with literally hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars have come into our country over the last 4 days, represented by this meeting. But trillions of dollars, where Toyota is going to build plants, $10 billion worth of plants. And, I could go over so many different companies coming in. They're pouring money into the United States. So beyond even this meeting, this was an unbelievable trip. And I hope you're glad you were a part of it. It was big. Every country, Japan, I mean, you look at South Korea, Japan, and so many other countries that we met there, they're investing tremendous amounts of money in the United States, like money that we've never seen before.
So are we investments from China in the U.S., additional investments, anything like a...
They have investments, and they will invest, and China, I think they feel very strongly. They congratulated me on the tremendous success that we've had, because there's never been a country that has had so much money come into it for purposes of investment, for building, for auto plants, for AI, etc. So he was very strong on congratulating me for that.
But you didn't commit to any additional investment or outflow?
We didn't really discuss it, but he would...
Did you ever get through to Kim Jong-un about setting up a meeting? Does he have a phone?
We never were able to talk because I was so busy. And really, this is why we came. I think it would have been maybe disrespectful to the importance of this meeting if we did that. So I'd come back with respect to Kim Jong-un. I'd come back. It was...
What do you want to talk about with him?
I had a great relationship with Kim Jong-un. I think if I didn't get elected, you would have had... If Hillary Clinton came in at the time, who he doesn't like too many people other than me, if you want to know the truth. I think you would have had a big war. Could have been a very bad war, too.
Sir, with the nuclear announcement, just one more on the nuclear announcement, do you worry that we're entering a more risky environment when it comes to nuclear issues?
No, I don't think so. I think we have it pretty well locked up. But we have more than anybody. But I see them testing. I say, well, if they're going to test, I guess we have to test. I'd like to see a denuclearization because We have so many, and Russia has some. Russia's second, and China's third, and China will catch up within 4 or 5 years. I think de-escalation would be, they would call it denuclearization, would be a tremendous thing, and it's something we are actually talking to Russia about that, and China would be added to that if we do something. Thank you all. It was a great success. It was a great honor. I mean, he's a tremendous leader of a very powerful country, and I give great respect to him, and we appreciate the fact that he came for this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anything on Canada? Anything on Canada?
We had a very nice conversation with him last night. We really did.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing, Mr.
How are
President?
you? Bumpy weather up in the plane. We're way up in the air. We're a little bit bumpy. So what's the word? Do you have any questions?
Sir, could you tell us a little bit about how the Lula meeting went yesterday?
Very good. We had a good meeting. We'll see what happens. I don't know if anything's going to happen, but we'll see. They'd like to do a deal. We'll see. Right now they're paying, I guess, 50% tariff. But we had a great meeting. It's happy birthday. I want to wish the president happy birthday. Okay? It's his birthday today. Did you know that?
No.
He's a very vigorous guy, actually, and I was very impressed. But today's his birthday. So happy birthday. All right? Would you let him know, please?
Mr. President, a couple more questions on tariffs. Secretary Bessent and Jameson Greer
He's right here.
have both said...
Where is he? He's right here, the handsome guy behind me.
Hi, Mr. Secretary. You said you're near a framework to
Stand
present
right
to
over
the...
here. Wait, let me just give him a little room.
Hi, Mr. Secretary.
He's doing a good job. No, get over here. We also have Marco here.
You said, can you give us a status on the preliminary talks with the Chinese and where that sets things up for Thursday's meeting?
So we had a very good meeting, Janus and myself, with our counterpart, the Vice Premier, and we have a framework for President Trump, President Xi to decide on, and we discussed a wide range of things from tariffs, trade, fentanyl, substantial purchase of U.S. agricultural products.
And rare earths.
And,
right?
rare earths.
It's most of
That's nothing has been agreed to yet.
How do you feel
But
about it?
we feel good. I mean, we feel good. I feel better that this guy's got nice broad shoulders. If the plane makes a big turn or something, I'm grabbing his shoulder.
Please do.
You know what? I'm going to stay over here. Marco, where are you? Come on up here. Want to move over here? I think you have more room.
Sir, I
Got a good team. This is the greatest team ever assembled.
Mr. President,
You know that if I weren't elected president, in my opinion, every automobile company in the United States would be either bankrupt or very close to it. And instead, they're hitting record highs. Their stock is through the roof. You saw Ford and you saw General Motors yesterday go up big. It's all because of tariffs. If it weren't tariffs, it'd be just like it's been for the last 30 years, where we lost about 52% of our automobile manufacturing business. In my opinion, whether it be now or very shortly, if it weren't for what I've done as president, every automobile company in America would be bankrupt. Instead, they're doing phenomenal business. That's all because of tariffs. All right.
you on the flight yesterday, you sent out your Truth Social about the Canada tariffs. Can you walk through when you expect those to take effect? And can I ask why?
I don't know. We're gonna let them know. Ronald Reagan loved tariffs. He used them sparingly, which he probably would make a mistake. He made a mistake in that. And again, I was the biggest fan of Ronald Reagan, but on finance, on trade, it wasn't his strong suit. But he liked tariffs, and they totally changed that to say that he didn't, because they're catering to the Supreme Court. Because Canada's been ripping us off for a long time, and they're not going to rip us off anymore. Canada has been ripping us off for a long time. One of the most difficult countries to deal with has been Canada. As much as I love Canada itself and the people of Canada, they've just had a lot of bad representatives. They did a fake ad yesterday. They were caught. The Ronald Reagan Foundation was the one that caught them, and it was totally the opposite of what they said. So I don't like that. That's dirty pool, and you can't do that. And let me just tell you, they shouldn't have done it. They've apologized, and they said, we're going to take the ad down. Well, they did it, but they did it very late. They let it play for another 2 nights, and now they took that ad down. So I don't know when it's going to kick in. We'll see, but I don't really want to discuss it. Let's go.
Mr. President, can I just add, this is an ad, that was an ad run by a provincial government in Canada. Why are you mad at the federal government?
Because whether it's provincial or Canada itself, they all knew exactly what the ad was. The Prime Minister knew, everybody knew. The Prime Minister knew what the ad was before it went.
Will you see him at APEC? Do you want to meet with him?
I don't want to meet with him. No, I'm not going to be meeting with him for a while. No, I'm very happy with the deal we have right now with Canada. We're going to let it ride.
Well, we have Secretary Benson here. Can we ask about the Fed search as well? Where are you on interviewing candidates for a new chair?
We're down to 5. We're obviously traveling a lot now. We're going to continue. We're going to do a second round, and we hope to present a good slate to the president right after Thanksgiving. It'll ultimately be his choice. I think he's got some very strong ideas.
I'm thinking about him for Fed. What do you think?
I'm thinking about Secretary Benson.
I'm thinking about Marco. Thinking about Jameson. Would you like him? Thinking about a lot of people.
I think Stephen Miller.
We do have a lot. Stephen Miller. How about Stephen Miller? We have a lot of candidates that want the job.
When do you think you'll make a decision?
I think it's the world's easiest job, but to get it right, you have to be very smart. And we have a person that's not at all smart right now, unfortunately. He should have been much slower, much sooner. That's why we call him Jerome Too Late Powell. Let's go.
Russia said this week that they've tested a new missile that can go more than 8,000 miles. Is that saber rattling for you? What is it? What is that?
They know we have a nuclear submarine, the greatest in the world, right off their shores. So, I mean, it doesn't have to go 8,000 miles. And they're not playing games with us. We're not playing games with them either. We test missiles all the time. But, you know, we do have a submarine, a nuclear submarine. We don't need to go 8,000 miles. And I don't think it's an appropriate thing for Putin to be saying either, by the way. He ought to get the war ended. A war that should have taken 1 week is now in its soon 4th year. That's what he ought to do instead of testing missiles.
Mr. President, should the EU use frozen Russian assets to help pay for defense of Ukraine?
You have to ask EU. I'm not involved in that. That's up to EU.
Are you considering additional sanctions against Russia?
You'll find out.
So, Mr. President, shipbuilding has been a big part of your trade deals with both South Korea and Japan. Why is it so important to increase our shipbuilding to counter China?
Well, pretty obvious answer to that, because we want more ships. We're going to be back in the shipbuilding industry. We have a lot of companies coming into our country now. They're going to start building. We have the shipyards available. You know, in World War II, we were the biggest in the world in shipbuilding. And then over the years, we went wokey and stupid and weak. And we started buying ships from everybody. And, you know, we lost that industry. But we'll get that industry back. We were the best at it. And we'll soon be very good at it, if not the best.
What are you going to announce in Japan? Can you give us any preview?
We're going to just announce great friendship. I look forward to meeting the new Prime Minister. I hear phenomenal things. She was a great ally and friend of Shinzo Abe, who was my friend, the former Prime Minister. And he was great. He was one of my best. He was one of the best. And the group, he was one of the best, really best. And I know they were very close. And I think philosophically they were close, which is good. It's going to be very good. That really helps Japan and the United States. I think she's going to be great.
Which CEOs are going to come to your dinner tomorrow? Can you say what companies?
I'd rather not say. You'll see tomorrow.
So are you planning to sign a final deal on TikTok on Thursday when you meet with
We might. That'll be one of the things we're discussing. Somebody reported it's been approved recently. I mean, we got an original approval from President Xi. I expect we'll have an approval, but I'd rather wait till a couple of days to let you know.
Is it part of the grand deal coming together?
No, but it's something we're going to talk about.
Do you have any 25% tariffs on China? Is the understanding from both countries that will remain regardless of what?
No, I don't want to tell you what the understanding is, because what we understood yesterday or 2 days ago or even today is not going to be necessarily what it's going to be in 2 days. I mean, we're going to have a great talk. I have a lot of respect for President Xi. I like him a lot. He likes me a lot, I believe, and respects me, and I think he respects our country a lot. and I think we're going to have a successful transaction for both countries.
Have you been briefed on the incident on the Nimitz, both a fighter jet and a helicopter?
I've heard about it, yeah.
Do you know what happened there? Was that?
They're going to let me know pretty soon. I think they should be able to find out. It could be bad fuel. I mean, it's possible it's bad fuel. Very unusual that would happen to
But you don't think there was foul play or anything?
No, I don't.
Security threat?
No, they think it might be bad fuel. We're going to find out. Nothing to hide. We'll find out.
Sir, has there been a snag in terms of the South Korea trade talks? How is that
No,
going?
I don't think so, Scott. Has there?
No, there are just a lot of details to work out. A very complicated deal, and I think we're very close.
Do you expect to finalize that on Wednesday, or will it maybe not quite be done?
I think not quite, but I think the overall framework is done. We're just getting crossing the T's, dotting the I's. That's what Ambassador Greerstein does, and nobody's better at it than they are.
Mr. President,
You want to say something?
Sure. So with the Korea deal, there are a few parts to this. There's some, national security related issues, which are really, not my wheelhouse. Then we have some pure trade issues where they've had some non-tariff barriers to us for a long time, and we've resolved a lot of those, so that's great. And then there's another piece, which is really about investment going forward. The Koreans have a great plan to invest in U.S. shipbuilding, even more than they've already done it. And so they're talking right now, frankly, about how to implement Korean investment in the United States in the best way to make sure that we're...
And especially towards shipbuilding. We're very much involved in getting the shipbuilding again, which really we should have never lost. Years ago, they lost that. Many decades ago. But we were number one. We'll be either number one or right up around them. China's making a lot of ships. I take my hat off to them. Now, they wouldn't if we had that situation where we charged essentially a fee, but we're not looking to hurt their shipbuilding industry.
Have the Koreans asked for any visa guarantees after that immigration raid
No,
in
you
Georgia?
know how I feel. I was very much opposed. Look, when they come in and they're making very complex machinery, equipment, things, they're going to have to bring some people in, at least at the initial phase. In that case, it was batteries. Batteries are very complex, and they're actually very dangerous to make. You can't just pick people off an unemployment line and say, we just, opened up a $2 billion battery factory. So we've got an understanding. And this is with the world. By the way, this is not just with South Korea. This is when they come into our country. We have a lot of factories being built by foreign interests. When they come in, some of these factories make very, very complex, very highly sophisticated equipment. They've got to bring people in with them for a period of time. They'll teach our people how to do it, but even for a fairly long period of time, they're going to need expertise to be successful. And we're going to let people know, I'm letting them know right now, that when they come into our country, we can expect to see them bring in with them some very talented people that have been doing it for many years. They'll teach our people how to do it. Our people will be just as good as they are within a period of time, and it'll be a phase out. But we want them to bring in experts, and that's the way it is.
Mr. President, what visa would they come under, and how long would those?
That's it. We're doing a whole new plan for that. But what you can't expect, let's say they come in, for instance, we have massive